Hey, what up? What up? Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:33. I'm sorry I'm a little late. It's January 28th. Wow, almost the end of January. How did your month go? Did yesterday ruin your month? I hope not. At this point, hey, who am I? I'm Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com and the founder of Red Dog Mindset. And I'm here to try and help you guys make a little bit of money every day and get you thinking straight on the right path. And yes, it was one of those days. I'll tell you, one of those days happens a few times a year, or sometimes once a year, or sometimes once every few years. I will say this though. I was just talking to a bunch of different traders, and the one thing that happened that I was had some gratitude about is that there was really some signals on Friday to take some risk down. You had the SPYs did a little red dog reversal. The Qs made a lower high. Nvidia was the weakest name, and that's usually a leader. So that had me take some risk down and had me put some hedges on. So yesterday, I actually made a little bit of money. And you guys know that Red Dog likes to be long. Obviously, a lot of things gave a way out. The question to you is, did you follow your plan? Okay, did you look for signals and keep your, or have like rose-colored glasses on Friday? And again, even having a few things definitely hurt yesterday. Just forgive yourself. Say, hey, okay, yesterday was yesterday. We're moving on. Okay. And if for some reason you're upset with yourself because you're like, I didn't see the weakness and Nvidia closing the lows. I didn't see the Qs make a lower high. I didn't see the semis make lower highs. Just say, hey, it's my fault. I didn't see what I should have been seeing. I wasn't aware. I wasn't prepared enough. I wasn't up early enough. I wasn't on my game. And as soon as you take accountability for the things that you did not do, then all of a sudden you'll do them, right? You're not going to lie to yourself. So the worst thing you could do ever is lie to yourself. And the worst thing you could do is try and make promises to yourself and not keep them, whether it's push-ups, right? Did you do push-ups? Whether it's sticking to the new diet. If you write all these goals down and you don't stick to them, it starts to wear you down. The best promises you keep the ones to yourself. So anyway, here we are. Futures are up a little bit. Things are trying to bounce back. At this point, it's hard to tell, what type of bounce back we're going to have. The SPYs right now, if you take a look here, are a little off the highs already. Okay, so SPYs in Nvidia is what's on everyone's radar right now. SPYs are at 677, a little bit above, the gap pivot. So the question is, how much of this gap gets filled? So to me, I always judge, the type of move is by the type of the retracement, meaning, right now the SPYs are on sale. They gapped down a lot. They came off lows. If it could only go to 601, 602, gets rejected and just starts to sell down, that we could be in for a little bit more of a rebuild corrective phase, and you have to just be careful. I personally yesterday, salvaged some positions, took off some things I'm uncommitted to, and said, hey, you know what, I'm going to let the market tell me what's next. I'm going to be a little bit more tactical. I don't want to be in a position where yesterday I could have been in a position where, I could have lost six figures and lost what I made in January, tacking it together, but instead, thank goodness I had hedges on, and, Amazon went green and Meta went green, and a lot of the things that I had did okay. And then some of the other ones I just cut fast and said, okay, I'm out. Anyway, so here's a chart of the SPYs. SPYs right now, again, are in the gap. Nvidia is not quite in the gap. Let's just go to Nvidia next. Nvidia has a huge hole in the chart. There's a lot of different comments and opinions, and everyone's talking about, oh, Nvidia lost more market cap than Netflix. It lost more market cap than this. Okay. Anyway, I'm not into that whole, just commiserate or do whatever. Bottom line is this candle right here, could have told you to get the hell out of the way. Remember when this candle into the CES, what's it called? Whatever the hell is the show, they sold the event, and that led to a move lower. And then here's a lower high with the red dog reversal and a bearish engulfing candle. That told you to get out. If you're an investor, that's different. If you're a trader and you get paid for a living like I do, and most of the people at T3 and most of the people that are trying out the alpha team today, then some people actually probably made money short. So now the question is, can it even get in this gap? That's 128.40. Right now, Nvidia is at 123.89, up 5. If you took it home, there are guys on the alpha team that took home Nvidia for a bounce, trim a little bit. You're up 5 points. If you took home 500 shares, boom, you're making $2,500. You took home 1,000, you're making $5,000. You took home 200. All it's different for everyone. Trim some. If you're not in it, no big deal. So you got to see how it handles 128.40. Does it push above, go to 130, and then come back below, and then that was it, or does it grind into this? So that's how you judge the demand of and the real efficiency or potency of yesterday's move. It might not even get in that today. It might even just have like an inside day, and then tomorrow on Fed Day might try. Look at the Qs. The Qs also, have a gap. Starts at 518. The Qs is still showing relative weakness. The Qs, whereas also, thank God for the Qs. Why? Because look at this lower high. The Qs made a lower high, giving a little bit of clues that you should not be so heavy in tech. Anyway, broke below. This is 510. This is 518. What are the Qs doing today? The Qs are 516.22, not even in the gap. So you didn't miss anything. If you're like, hey, if you went home short because the market was, under pressure yesterday, then you probably have to add to and trade around it. If you took a little longs, trim into it, make some money, and move on a little bit. I'm not going to get into every other sector. The banks are a little stronger. IWM didn't really do. IWM gave you one trade. IWM went green fast, like we were talking about yesterday, and then just rolled over. All the IWM did is come back into the 50% retracement, and now I guess you'll see you could make this a little bit lower here. But the IWM is, it's nothing great. The XBI is nothing great. I'm in the camp that I just want to do a little less. I might take a few option trades. I don't want to put myself, kind of in harm's way. There's just no need. There are some things that we went over yesterday here in the 630 club that worked out great. Amazon, what a move. That was fantastic. Amazon, I bought a little bit. Amazon was my biggest loser. I was worried. Like yesterday, I was sitting in the sauna, I'm like, oh my goodness, Amazon's down 13. That's going to suck. And then what happened in early morning, started reading a little research, talking about how their spend might be lower, their margins might increase. And I bought a little bit, traded around and made money, held it all day, trimmed some, and look at this nice candle. So at this point, it's off $1. We'll see if, Amazon wants to kind of hold in here and then make a push above 235.50, or does it want to wait for earnings? But either which way, this was a nice comeback. Nice comeback. Meta also. Meta, what a nice comeback. Not only did I have a comeback, look at this bullish engulfing candle. Wow, that's fantastic. I actually traded around my call spread pretty well. I think the stock was down 20. Some guys were buying it. I just bought back my calls that I was short, went green, resold them, sold some, took down some risk, and said, hey, live to fight another day. Let's see what goes on here. So Meta was great. And then Apple, remember we were talking how I'm like, Apple didn't do the spend that all these companies did. And maybe it's been the worst stock in, 2025, Mag 7 wise, which it has been. Maybe it changes composure. And guys, it was only down 50 cents while everything else was down. So it showed you pre-market that it was strong. A lot of people made some nice money. So this is Apple. Apple, that was in an active sequence to the downside when it took out 257, took out 253. Gave you the 200 day to trade against, and then cleared 227 yesterday for a nice move. What's Apple doing this morning? It was down $1. I was going to buy. I was thinking that, the ones that got beat up yesterday were probably, bouncing back, and the ones that were, that were stronger yesterday, you could buy that dip, and right now they kind of took that trade away from you. But where could Apple get up to before there's some resistance? This is 231. So Apple hit 232. So we'll see if it gets back there. And if it does, 234 to 238 is a lot of resistance. That's all the moving averages. Nice targeted trade. Really nice targeted trade. So anyway, at this point, I would just take the setup that you have and go with it. IBIT still looks decent. I actually got stopped out yesterday and then went back to it, towards the end of the day. And now it's up a little bit. So we'll see how much of this gap it fills. I'm going to, trim a little bit and trade around it. What's this price here? This is 58.20. So we'll see, what it does there right now. IBIT, which is the ETF for Bitcoin. They actually confirmed Trump's Bitcoin guy, who people like in the Bitcoin world. So this right now, just like the spies, are are above in the gap. So if Bitcoin fills this gap fast, that's telling you that, hey, Bitcoin is still buying the dip pretty fast. So, if you look here, I don't have a whole hell of a lot going on in the alpha team. I have a lot of trials, this and that, but but you could see long Bitcoin overnight. So again, they want to say, how do people follow me? Well, they see things light up. So right now, what I always do when a gap is in my favor, go here, I'll sell a little bit, book some, hold some, and then you flash red. So that's the technology, the alpha team. They get to see what I have, and I don't have a whole hell of a lot. I have a Meta call spread on. I have a little bit of Amazon left over. Dash acted very well. Guys made really good money buying the dip in Dash, and came up really nicely. I told you guys yesterday, I'm like, Dash doesn't have chips in AI, and Dash has been a leader. So Dash was very viable. I still think this stock could be 225 this year. So stay with it, trade it, massage it, and get to know it. A lot of big institutions are behind it. Also, Reddit went green yesterday. Also held the 21-day. So you have Nvidia getting to the 200-day and leaders. So Reddit is still showing nice relative. So if you were long Reddit, they gave you a way to buy a dip and trade around it. That's all you could ask for, is buy a dip and trade around it. And it did. So that, now you have this point of reference moving forward. So that was nice. So at least they let you out of that. So they didn't really trap you in anything too bad unless you were in like the energy grid and in the semis that were the cusp of it. And now they're all getting a little bounce back. So if you were jumping off a bridge yesterday because you had too much exposure to the grid and to the semis into this bounce back, just take a little bit off and feel okay. They really annihilated a few things. Thank God I got out of CCJ. Look at that. This also, somebody's like, Red Dog, why'd you get out of CCJ on Friday? I'm like, well, look at the Red Dog reversal. Got above 57.22, couldn't hold it, was extended. After 5 days, why not get above it? You can go to YouTube and look for Red Dog videos and literally, all lessons on day count rules, on Red Dog reversals, on how to execute, how to use a tier system. And thank goodness, look at that. That could have been painful. I feel bad for those who really have been doing well with some of the the grid type names because they got absolutely crushed. My biggest loser yesterday was NBIS. It happens, but I also got out of it pretty fast. Okay, sometimes you step on a landmine and you hear the click and you're with 10 people. Like, what was that? A landmine? Someone's like, no, that was a potato chip. I'm like, no, that was a landmine. I'm running. And then the last two people who are still standing there, they get beat up. Not that I want anyone to get beat up, but if you hear something and something doesn't feel right, you could always sell and then come back and revisit. So now what? I don't know. This thing's going to need a lot of time. I made really good money in this stock, and thank goodness it came up and gave you a move to 43 on Friday. Got out of some, so I was in a little less. Anyway, I haven't said hello to some of my dogs around the world. Let me say hello to some of my dogs around the world. Let's see what we're doing here. Okay. Yes, the RSP was actually green yesterday. So Jay Rice is talking about what some other people are talking about, which makes sense, is that the equal weight S&P could outperform the regular weight S&P this year, but everyone said that last year also. But maybe this year is a little bit different. If there is a little bit of a revaluation of tech and mega cap tech and semis, you would think that the equal weight does better. So I agree. What up, Mississippi? What up, It's? Let's see. Red Dog, do you like FXI over K-Web? So basically, Mancini is asking me about China. So I do think China, which has underperformed the U.S. for the multiple years, might be. So I'd rather see you buy ETFs. I did buy some BABA calls yesterday, and I'm going to stay with that through earnings. So people talking to me from the hedge fund world that BABA's spend is a lot less because they don't have to do the AI energy spend, so their margins are going to be good, and the economy is getting better. So BABA could be a good play. So I'm in BABA calls. All right, Conrad. Which one?
I posted today's, which was more straight to the point, and I posted an exciting one.
All right, so we're gonna watch a little. So everyone's asking me a little bit like, Red Dog, what about this 25-20? What do you do every day to get your mind right? Every day I'm in the sauna. I'm looking at what's happening around the world. I'm thinking about my positions. I'm listening to really good motivational videos and apps that I like, and I'm going to turn that into a little bit of a cool product for traders, 25-20, and for everyone. So this isn't it. I was just in the sauna this morning talking to myself, so I figured if you guys want to see it, it's kind of interesting. This is on, not on here. Where'd you put it? You put it, my Twitter.
That's the exciting one.
Oh, this is the exciting one. Okay, so let's see this first. Conrad. Right? All right. Oh, this is this morning. All right. All right. That's good. Conrad comes hello. This is Conrad right here. This is, think about this. Okay, so Conrad is only 20 years old. He goes to Rutgers. He goes to college. He takes night classes. So he's burning the candle at both ends by taking classes. He loves trading and he's developing all the content for so many different things. So if you feel like your kid's a little spoiled, it's your job to kick him in the butt and get him moving along. If your kid's like playing a lot of sports, like Chase plays a lot of basketball, he's getting a lot of discipline that way. Bottom line is you have to make sure that the kids these days are doing hard things also. You can't just spoon feed them and baby them, and not everyone gets a trophy, but we're not going to get into that. Let's go back to the charts. All right, Conrad.
All right, nice to meet you guys.
All right. Let's go back to where we were here. Where is let's go back to TrendSpider. Anyhow, there it is. Okay. So anyway, let's so that's NBIS. We'll see what kind of bounce here. Again, AVGO, Vago, Broadcom kind of looks like what's going on with this was a tough one. This one didn't give as big of a signal. Okay, so I get it. Um, coming into yesterday, like you had a little bit of a doji, so it kind of acted well compared to Nvidia. So this one didn't do anyone any favors on Friday to get out of it, and then it kind of had a big gap down. So if you were in it based on the pro earnings gap, you had to get out yesterday. Now there's another gap. This thing's like Swiss cheese. It's just got gaps everywhere. But anyway, so take this out of the way, take this out of the way. What's this high here? 190, what is this? 218.43. So let's go to 218.43. 218.43 right there. So where's AVGO right now? So AVGO is a 209, so it's not in the gap. So Nvidia isn't in the gap. So both of these are not in the gap. They're just giving you a nice little oversold bounce. So Nvidia was down 25. It's up 5. Avago is down. I don't even know how much. It's up 7. If you happen to take it home, make sure to trim some. Make sure. If you didn't, then see. Do they open them up and do they just fade this move and do they go red? If they open Nvidia up today and Avago and they go red in the first 15 minutes, it's going to tell you how weak things are. Google. I didn't love the way Google acted yesterday, to be honest. It didn't act as well as an Amazon or a Meta, but doesn't mean that much. You could say, hey, it's still in this range. You could lower this a little bit. This is 190.73. What's Google doing today? Google is it's up $1.45. So it's not horrible, but it's not special. Okay. In this type of market, you want to be in things that are special, not just, not horrible, right? So, special is above the 8 and 21 days. Special is you take it home like you did on Friday, and all of a sudden you can get out of it because it goes green like an Amazon or a Meta did yesterday, or even an Apple maybe changing character or some things like that. Dell hurt a lot of people yesterday, to be honest, and it didn't really come off lows. Dell's to me is just faulty and kind of broken. It's below all the moving averages. It's got a gap to fill. It's probably bouncing a little bit today. I'd avoid Dell for a little bit, to be honest. Dell is not really clean. Some of the other names outside of tech did decent. Like ONON still looks good. Okay, ONON has been a great trade for a lot of us in the Alpha team. Makes it looks like it's going to go higher. Nike actually did a little bit of a bottom trade. Some guys were pointing out, hey, Red Dog, look at this day one in Nike that gave you a little bit of follow through, went sideways, and it's continuing. It's very broken, but if you're just targeting Nike because you didn't get caught in this crazy move to the downside, there's a little bit of space left here for Nike. It's not like Michael Jordan's coming back to play anytime soon, but Nike's doing a little bit better. But OnCloud's been the leader. Nike is just like kind of like, I don't know, like a Starbucks or a Disney. It's just a name that's kind of bouncing here. I don't love it, but it's not an AI tech name, so who knows? Maybe there's a little bit more room here in Nike. I get it. Tesla, to be honest, I tried to play yesterday. To me, this name just is not the same name it was pre-election and post-election. If you remember, pre-election, I had a lot of options going into earnings, and then I had a lot of options going into the election day. I was on with Liz Clayman. Liz Clayman was, what do you think? I'm like, my guys think Trump's going to win with a landslide. That means you want to be long Bitcoin and Tesla, and it gave you a great move all the way up, though, to this red dog reversal sell right there. I actually got short up there and got out, and then here was your lower high. I did try and play it here, made a little bit of money. I played it here, made a little bit of money, and then I was pretty big there, and that hurt. And since then, it's been kind of faulty. Even yesterday. Yesterday, I tried to go from red to green. Details are hidden while you share your screen. Okay, that was something. Anyway, so I tried to play it to go red to green, and it was heavy. I'm a little, I'm not going to take an option play into earnings for Tesla. I have a feeling their EV numbers are going to be down. The actual face value of the report could be down, but then maybe if it's lower, it could be cute. And then if Elon gets on the conference call and talks about the robo-taxis, autonomous vehicles, AI, robotics, then maybe it gets a bounce. So I'm not going to take an option play because it's going to have a really outsized move to make money. AMD, I would just avoid. If I had $1 for every time that someone said buy AMD in the last year or two, I'd be, what would I be? I'd have a lot of dollars, but I'd be down a lot of money because AMD has been horrible. Even SMCI. It's just right now you just want to really hone in on, on very specific situations, because again, after the S&P was up 20-something% last year and 20% something the year before, I feel like this year, it's going to be a lot harder. So you want to be more specific. You want to have less things floating in the wind, and you want to maybe day trade a little bit more and only be in things that really are paying you and are acting special. What do you got? Bios were good. Yeah, bios weren't that good yesterday, to be honest. I went. The bios were fine. Fine is not special, but I did try the bios, and it gave you a nice little push into the moving averages, and then kind of sold down. This is still kind of a broken group. It's still not acting great. It's not. I wish it was acting better. And then at lunchtime when it pulled in, I went long the XBI thinking I just bought a pullback. And by the time I came back from my midday push-ups, I was stopped out. So anyway, all right, guys, listen, 6:56, I'm running late. I have a whole alpha team. If you want to spend the day, let's do it. If you want to spend the next few days, it's free. Use your resources. A lot of people are testing us out just to see, what I do intraday and how I interact with my community. And, I try and just be a steady hand and come up with some good thought out ideas that I prepare for. Multiple plans a day is key. Yesterday, Red Dog loves to be kind of longish, and I actually didn't lose any money yesterday. We came in with biggest black swan event since the pandemic. And Friday I was on the highs of my January, and I broke even yesterday, and that was a huge win. So I have gratitude for changing my things and having some hedges on and honoring the action from Friday, because a few other times I admitted it was my fault. I didn't have enough hedges on. I didn't look at the signals. I kind of was whatever. Just didn't do some of the things that I should have done. And if you acknowledge things that you should have done and you do them, hey, maybe you do it better next time. Somebody just asked me one more time about BABA. So I'm long on BABA options. I'm not so enthusiastic about China, but I do think BABA into earnings might be a good play. If you look here at the weekly chart, By the way, this is when Baba broke trend, when it broke the moving average. There's a lot to learn right here, and then it's been in a downtrend ever since. And now it does seem like if China wants to get some flows, if Baba's margins get better, if all the stimulus starts working, why can't Baba be like 120 or something in the next 2 to 3 months? So anyway, go for that. I'll see you guys later. I appreciate you, my dogs.